We are about to get started on our presentation. That was a big reminder. Following some clear agencies' unacceptable decisions and
responsibilities. Thank you for gathering here today as we come together to process and begin our next phase in our campaign to resist the Tacoma LNG facility. The decision from the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency yesterday, issuing a permit for this project, was unacceptable. Our broad coalition will continue to stand with the Puyallup Tribe in resisting this facility. We have a number of speakers from our coalition here today, including a representative from the Puyallup Tribe. Would like to introduce our first speaker, Dakota Case, who's a Puyallup Tribal member and a water warrior, who will open us in prayer as we begin this press conference. Thank you.
Wal Galapu de Isha, de Siaya, Dakota Case Teatsta, Spialapops Chetta, Tubshida. To all my honorable relatives, my name is Dakota Case. I'm a member of the Puyallup Tribe and I'm a water warrior. I came here today to say a special prayer and a prayer in my heart. My prayer today is for the water, the salmon, the ones that can't stand up for themselves, the ones that we are here to defend. We came here today to express our concerns with Puget Sound Clean Air Agency issuing the LNG facility's final permit to be built and completed and fully operational. I have grown up on the river my whole life, fished there, got to see the devastation of climate crisis firsthand. My sons will get to see it even further than I will. By locking us into a 50-year contract of a death deal with this toxic air pollution facility that PSC is handing us, it'll effectively kill off the last of our salmon. This year is the first year our chum run has been open. This is the first year that the cod fisheries is shut down in Alaska due to climate crisis and acidification of our ocean. The science is here. The facts are here. Our government agencies need to quit turning a blind eye to it. I'm finished.
My name is Michael Thompson. I'm the Communications Director for the Puyallup Tribe of Indians. And the Puyallup Tribal Council thanks our allied groups for the invitation to join this conference and has asked me to deliver a statement. We, the Puyallup Tribal Council, the governing body of the Puyallup Tribe of Indians, raise our hands to our water warriors and to our friends and allies who have stood with us and stand with us today in opposition to Tacoma LNG in support of a sustainable future. We wanted to be here in person, but are in our regularly scheduled council meeting. On Tuesday, the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency announced it would grant a permit to allow Tacoma LNG to move forward. As we and our allies have said repeatedly, Tacoma LNG is bad for our region and for Mother Earth. It represents more greenhouse gases. It represents fracking, it represents danger. We call on the City of Tacoma, the State Department of Ecology, and the Washington Utilities and Transportation Commission to begin reviews of the project that take into account the substantial changes to the project since its initial permits were granted and that assess the project's safety and the impacts a catastrophic event would have on the surrounding communities. We are known as a generous and welcoming people, but we are also warriors. Never mistake our kindness for weakness. Never mistake our generosity for acquiescence. When it comes to anything we regard as a threat to our people and our neighbors, we will not let go. During our fight to protect Mother Earth from Tacoma LNG, we learned that many of our neighbors are likewise generous and welcoming. And we have learned that many of our neighbors share our warrior spirit. We share a vision of the future, one that is clean, one that is free of unsustainable fossil fuel infrastructure, one that is just and equitable for all. Like our friends and allies, we will take whatever actions we must to protect Mother Earth. We are not finished. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Todd Haig. I'm the president of a local environmental organization, Advocates for a Cleaner Tacoma, otherwise known as ACT. We're interested in the clean soil, health, water, and air of the city of Tacoma and its environs. We are very disappointed with this decision by the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency. We do plan on appealing this decision. We have retained legal counsel with Earth Justice, who will be representing us, and a coalition of entities who will be appealing this whole effort. We started our group about 3 years ago because we saw a failure in leadership to actually address this issue. No one was taking it seriously. No one was really looking at the climate and environmental impacts that this facility is going to have on our city and the environment. It's very ironic that the day that the draft supplemental environmental impact statement was released, that looked at the cumulative greenhouse gas emissions, that very same day, October 8th of 2018, that exact same day, the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change released their report that basically said we had 12 years and we need to get off of fossil fuels, or otherwise we're going to face dire environmental consequences worldwide. This isn't a small fringe group. This is the UN making that statement. This is the official IPC government body who does climate change research. So the same day we get that report, we get a very flawed analysis of greenhouse gas emissions associated with this plant. So we do fully intend to appeal this decision. As I mentioned, Earth Justice will be representing us. We will be doing a public release on that very soon once the appeal goes in. And we will continue to fight this until it never is opened.
Sir, sorry for I was rolling when you gave your name, if you could, please.
Todd Hay.
And you represent, sir.
I'm the president of Advocates for a Cleaner Tacoma Act.
Thank you.
My name is Melissa Milat. I'm the Executive Director of Citizens for a Healthy Bay. Citizens for a Healthy Bay has been around since 1990, and we engage our community to restore, clean up, and protect Commencement Bay and the surrounding environment. We are very disappointed to see that Puget Sound Clean Air Agency issued this permit, and we are especially disappointed that the agency continues to ignore the climate impacts of this project. One of the questions that I get frequently from members of the public is how we can say that this is worse for the climate than the status quo when the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency says that it's better. And the reason for this is in how you look at the long-term data versus the short-term impacts of this. There is when natural gas is extracted from the ground, most of it is made up of methane, and that gas leaks into the air. We call those fugitive emissions. Methane is extremely potent at trapping greenhouse gases. It traps greenhouse gases 86 times more effectively than CO2. But over the course of many, many years, it breaks down into CO2. And so when the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency was analyzing the impacts of this, they looked at the 100-year timeline of the climate impacts of this project, not the 20-year timeline of this. And we know that with a lot of pollutants, looking at the long-term impacts of pollutants is very important for our environment. But with methane, it's different because it is so potent in the short term, and we're facing a climate emergency right now. So it is really important for us to know that the climate impacts of this in the near term, over the next couple of decades, and in the first few decades during the time that the plant is in operation, and in the next couple of decades after it closes, it's going to be much worse than doing nothing. So this is why we're really concerned. And Puget Sound Clean Air Agency could have weighed that. They could have looked at it in the short term, but they didn't. They looked at the long-term 100-year timeline, and that's why they're saying that it's better. But it is not. We have a climate emergency now. We need to be doing things to reduce climate emissions now, and this project is the wrong direction. Thank you.
This LNG project falls into the pattern of systemic racism that's been going on in our country for centuries. This central pattern about how whites have taken away means from people of color and indigenous communities, both legally and illegally, has been going on. Systemic racism requires us to turn a blind eye to these communities and their culture for economic profit. The city's narrow view and Puget Sound, I'll just talk about Puget Sound Clean Air Agency, but they failed to see how this LNG project has racial impact on the tribe's culture and people of color. We've used federal, state, and municipal maneuvering to circumvent their rights. Time after time, governments have figured out ways to extinguish Native Americans' claims to their own homelands. The Puyallup Land Claims Settlement Act of 1990 mandates meaningful consultation with the tribe on any substantial action. According to the Puyallup tribe, this didn't happen. Also, according to Citizens for Healthy Bay, who did a public records request, this didn't happen. Puget Sound Clean Air Agency recently came up with guidelines for government-to-government consultation to be used in the future, not on this permit. We at the conversation stand with the Puyallup tribe and its allies in resisting this project.
So first of all, I just want to acknowledge that we are on Puyallup land. And I thank you for inviting me. This whole crisis is a moral issue. It's a relational issue. We have failed to address it. And this LNG facility is a symbol of that failure. This whole process, it's been a disregard to the Puyallup people. It's been a disregard to treaty rights. It's been a disregard to the land. It's been a disregard to the waters. The land and the waters that give us life. I think we have to push back against this because it's a failure, again, in relationship. We have to look at different systems. We have to find ways to meet our needs without the destruction of creation and without the disrespect of our neighbors. This is not an inability because we don't have the technology. It's not an inability because we don't have the resources. It's an inability because we choose not to act properly. This is totally a moral issue, and it's immoral for them to move forward on this. This is simply a rush to push LNG into the market, and it needs to be resisted. And we need to stand united. And we must always respect each other. And we have to see the world and all of God's creation as in harmony. And there are models out there. And we need to seek those models and find ways to move forward. And creation will tell us what we need to do. We just have to stop and listen. But right now, we have to resist this project. And we have to stay united. Thank you.
Well, to conclude, thank you everyone who spoke, clarifying our community's continued opposition to this project. Our coalition will continue to stand with the Puyallup tribe in resisting this dangerous climate wrecking facility, which threatens our community's health, our safety, our water, and our shared environment here in Tacoma. We will continue to stand with the Puyallup tribe, and everyone who spoke will be available for further conversation and interviews as we conclude this press conference today. Thank you for being here.